Yes.
You be the love of my life. Each and every time you be my side. In the day you came into my life, you give me 10 apiece. My enemies see me, then they hide.
My mother's most generous gift is giving all her time and self to my family. Some background: my parents are immigrants from Ghana. They came here with little more than the clothes on their backs and have raised my brother and I the best way they know how with the little that they had, and that includes time. My parents had their own business and never had enough time for us. That is all in the past, and while I appreciate what they did before, they are even more giving now. 8 years ago, my mother let me marry a man from South Korea, even though she had her misgivings. I was born and raised in America and am an American in every way, but went and married a Korean man. Through it all, my mother has stood by me and helped us in our struggle to survive, both as a couple and as parents in America. When we came to the States, my husband did not speak English. He was unsure of himself and was not able to find a job. My parents provided a roof for us. We only had one car. My parents gave us one of their spare cars. I don't know how to cook Korean food, so my mother slaved over a stove, after she came home from her work, to give him a traditional Korean meal every night. When we felt that we were able to move out on our own, my parents gave us a loan to buy a home. They gave us one of their vehicles to take with us to our new home. When I went back to work after my second child was born, my mother closed her business and took care of my children so that I could work full-time. To this day, she still watches my children and takes my daughter to and from school. We have purchased a larger home, and my parents are still supporting us through this endeavor with their tips and tricks of being homeowners. My mother has no boundaries to the love she gives my family, and even though we no longer live with her, she still sends home food for my husband so that he doesn't miss Ghana so much. That is how generous my mother is. She gives all she has to us, and more. Generosity in tough times. I remember as a young child, times were financially hard in our family. Mom would sometimes have to borrow my allowance money to make ends meet at the end of the week. Still, once a month, she would buy some steaks and would grill them up for Dad and I. She knew I loved steak, and would end up giving me half of hers because I would want more. I was too young to completely understand what she was doing. But, as I became married with children, I came to understand the sacrifices parents make for their kids. Happy Mother's Day you and to all mothers. My name is Rosemary, and I am a high school office exchange student from Ghana. This year, I am being hosted by the Roberts family. As I think about heading home this June, I want to thank my entire host family, but especially my host mom, Sarah. My year wouldn't have been this exciting and full of adventures without my host mom. She has provided me so many American and my first-time experiences. During the spring break, we went to Florida for vacation. Florida is the place that I've wanted to visit since before I came here. We drove almost 21 hours to Madeira Beach and we drove through 5 states. I didn't only get to go to Florida and see the ocean, but I also got to see many different things in different cities. It was literally the best spring break ever. I'm so thankful to my host mom for taking me to that trip and making my dream come true. I came here because I wanted to experience some different culture, language and school life. Basketball is one of the biggest reasons why I chose here. I've always wanted to experience the American basketball and learn it. My basketball season here in America was amazing with all the support of my host mom. This office experience has given me more than I can describe, and it's all because of my host mom's support. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. My mother, Jessica of Mount Pleasant, has been an amazing mother, grandmother and great-grandmother for her 4 children and their families. She has been a model of strength when faced with adverse situations. When widowed at the age of 36 and left with 4 children ages 2-12, she continued to live on the farm and provide a loving home for us. With that same strength and acceptance, her family has watched her face each new transition in her life. Now at 97 and living in assisted living, she continues to be a teacher to her family as to how to live one's life. On her 90th birthday, Mom gave each of her children and grandchildren a wonderful book she wrote of her life. In her own words, we have her life history, her childhood, school years, married and working life, travels, etc. It is truly a book that we treasure now and will be treasured by generations to come.
On my first day of kindergarten, she gave me her wedding ring to keep in my sock as a reassurance I would be alright and that she returned for me. The gift of independence. My mom wasn't one of those mothers who jump up to whip up an alternative meal when one of the 4 Bullock girls didn't like the supper offering. When my sister was on a trip and her friend's car broke down in Tema, Ghana, Mom didn't rush out to pick Cindy up. "Take the bus," she said. That is the gift my mother gave us. We learned how to deal with problems ourselves. And this has served us well. Somewhere Mom is watching over us. I think she'd be happy to see her grandchildren, raised much the same way she raised us and doing just fine. One of the last things my mom told me last month before she died was that she loved me and was proud of me. My mom had shared those sentiments with me on several occasions through the years. But the fact that in her last few hours, dealing with the end of her own life, and the pain that she was experiencing, she thought about me. That was the ultimate gift. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you, and I always will. I know that there are tons of moms out there who deserve recognition, but I would love to nominate my mom, Kwayan Kong Duong, not only because she is my mom and I love her very much, but because she is also my hero and she is the best mom in the entire universe. We moved to Clinton, in 2001. My mom's side was still in Vietnam. She had to leave her family behind so that my dad could reunite with his family, and most important, that my brother and I could have a better future. I still remember the day that we left Vietnam. She was holding tears in her eyes at the airport, saying goodbye to her parents, brothers and sisters. She was very brave and strong. She didn't cry because she didn't want my grandparents and uncle/aunt to break down. It was really tough when we first moved here, because we couldn't afford the money to travel back to Vietnam since it was very expensive. Back then, we didn't have Skype, Facebook or FaceTime, so communication was really tough, and she barely had the chance to talk to her family. Every day she was waiting for the letter to come through the mail. Every time, when she received a letter in the mail or picture, it was like Christmas for her. Fast forward to these days, she cleans tables, washes toilets, and does all the hard labor to put my brother and myself through college. Every time when we are staying out late at the library studying, she is always there with us in spirit, whether it is 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. She is always making sure that we got back to our dorm room or apartment safely before she can go to bed. Luckily, my brother will be graduating from Drake University in 2 weeks. Without our parents, I wouldn't be where I am at today, the man I have become, and starting to making an impact within the Des Moines community, because of my mom. I graduated from Drake back in 2012 with a finance degree, the first one in my family with a college degree. I am 26 years old and am currently working as a marketing coordinator. I have been in Des Moines for 7 years now, and am planning to be here for a while. One of my Mother's Day gifts to my mom is that I have been accepted as a board of directors with the Des Moines Public Library Foundation, becoming the youngest member on the board.
Give me 10 apiece, my enemies see me then they hide. Just rap them.